Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and welcome back to another weight loss video. Hope you enjoy. Super fat people of Reddit. When was the exact moment you realized you were super fat? I looked to the left and something touched the back of my left ear. It was my neck fat. This happened to me when I was driving. I looked over my shoulder to make sure no cars were in my blind spot before I merged, and my cheek touched my shoulder and back fat. So many things. A big one is seeing older pictures of me and thinking, I really wasn't that fat then. A bit pudgy, yeah, but easy enough to manage. Yet, I grew up with my parents and grandma and other people commenting on my weight and making a huge deal out of it. So, I grew up thinking, I'm already fat, may as well eat in a way that makes me happy, and just got a lot fatter. And I get so angry when I look back at old pictures and realize how much easier it would have been to lose weight then, if people had been more vocally supportive rather than verbally depressing. About once a week, I would treat myself to a fat feast. I'm not sure of what I was treating myself for, probably making it through another week of depression. Anyway, so this particular week, I went to Taco Bell and ordered up $45 worth of assorted stuff. Got my food and went to sit down in the booth, and could not comfortably fit into the booth. I finished the frig out of that meal, and then vowed to turn everything around. Lost 100 pounds in the next year, and came out the other side of depression, and all it took was determination, diet, and exercise. When I was 22, my doctor told me that if I didn't change my diet and lifestyle, I would be dead by my mid-30s. I got a gym membership that day, started using it a few months later. I started working out 3 days a week, then 4, then 5. I cut out sugary drinks first, then sugary foods, then limiting my portion sizes, and then started counting calories and macronutrients. I've lost a total of 145 pounds during my weight loss period between 22 and 24. The problem with losing that much weight is you'll inevitably lose a lot of muscle mass in the process. So I put on 40 pounds of mostly muscle over the last 2 years, and I only need to cut another 15 pounds of fat to get to my ideal frame. The moment that I went, no friggin' more of this, is when I broke a pair of boots. These were super wide cap boots, but they were so tight, and the zipper just gave out on me. These were 19-inch circumference boots. That's a huge boot, and I broke the zipper on them because my fat butt was in denial. Down 70 pounds this year, going strong, and I've reclaimed most of the boots that I fatted myself out of. 6 years ago, I quit a 2.5 pack a day habit, and in those 6 years gained 100 pounds. That puts me at 6'3", 380 pounds, for context. For the most part, I'm infinitely aware of how big I am. Earlier this month, I had to fly to Atlanta. I flew last time this year as well. When I checked my bag into the desk, the agent asked me for my boarding pass, so I gave it to her. She then says this to me, "You only have one?" "One what?" "You don't need another boarding pass?" "For what?" "You fit in one seat?" Yeah. "Well, I just wanted to make sure you're comfortable." Me, in my mind, well, I feel pretty damned uncomfortable now. I knew I was a lard butt, but that was the first time I truly felt too big to exist in this world. At my true heaviest, nothing crazy, but I'll never forget the moment that made me address my weight. I just got out of the shower, sat down at my desk where my computer was on, and I put on a YouTube video. I remember when it was over, after the screen went black, I could just see myself sitting there with my towel on. I'll never ever forget how awful I felt looking at myself. When I looked down and I realized I hadn't directly seen my banana in 3 years without manually lifting my gut out of the way, I had to brace myself to bend over and tie my shoes. My doctor telling me I was at a higher risk of diabetes by 25. I don't consider myself super fat because of my build, but I went in for a physical once and was 298 pounds, just shy of 300. It really made me take a look at things and get a desire to shape up. I've lost weight since, and I can see the difference, but I'm nowhere near where I'm wanting to be yet. I wouldn't say I'm super fat, but others would probably classify me as such. I've always been overweight, but I never saw it as a big deal or that it hindered me in any way. I have no health issues, but I'm not very athletic. My husband lifted me one day, and the one thought that kept going through my mind was, oh no, I'm gonna break him. When he put me down, he said that it hurt his back. I started a diet the next day, and it's a work in progress, but I think I've lost a little. A picture on Facebook, which made me think of the times I had to stop and take a break at Disney. My best friend is very overweight. She and I go to an amusement park a lot. She gets free tickets from a relative. Now, I'm a fast walker, but no matter how much I slowed down for her, she complained that I was going too fast and that we needed to take a break. She blamed it on everything except her weight. She broke her toe 4 years ago and it sometimes hurts. She sprained her ankle when she was 10. I've sprained both ankles and have knee problems from both injuries and crappy genetics. I'm also about 100 pounds lighter than her, still overweight, but a lot lighter. And as I lost weight, there got to be even more of a difference. She still didn't see that her weight was her problem until she went to the doctor, who told her that she'd be dead by 45 if she didn't lose some weight. The thing that really prompted me to lose weight was actually a comment that she made. I was checking out a tester seat for a ride just in case, and she watched me get in and out successfully, and then she said, "Oh, if you can fit, then I know I can." It was pretty hurtful. Although now, looking back, I think she was referring to the comparative size of our butts and thighs. I got a donk and she doesn't. It still made me realize just how fat I am. I don't know if I was technically super fat, but at 5'7" and 280 pounds, I was much larger than I should have been. My weight had been going up pretty steadily for a couple of years, anxiety and depression and stress eating, but in my current relationship, it had steadied more or less. I was seeing my general practitioner for a med check, and I mentioned that I knew I needed to start losing weight. I'm 30, have a family history of obesity, heart problems, and diabetes. He casually mentioned that I'd be a good candidate for weight loss surgery if I wanted it, and that I should just give it some thought and let him know. That moment was very eye-opening for me. I knew I had gotten fat, but at no point did I think I was the kind of person who would be fat enough for weight loss surgery. I live in Wisconsin, and we obviously as a state need to get our crap together where obesity is concerned. So while I knew I was big, I didn't seem that big compared to a lot of other people walking around. Fast forward to January, I started using MyFitnessPal and counting calories, and now I've lost 50 pounds. I still have a ways to go to get into a healthy BMI, but it's already been a huge improvement to my quality of life. I didn't add anything in terms of physical activity, although now I'm starting to since I'm saggy and should tone up. I literally just ate a little less than I had been. I went from close to 700 pounds down to 350. My female friends would always ask me for my old big shirts to use them as nightgowns. They generally went to the girl's knees or lower, and a few times they needed a belt or their whole body would go through the head hole. The first time I really noticed was in 6th grade, when my gym teacher pulled me aside, concerned about my weight. I want to say I was 180-ish pounds at the time. I basically brushed it off because I didn't care, and I've been fat since. 455 pounds was my highest back in March, but I carry it fairly well. Most people assume I'm about 100 pounds lighter than I actually am, and I know they're not just being nice, because the surprise when I tell them is genuine. But I've been working on losing it, with the help of r/lose it, down to 411 right now. I've been home out of work for a while, and I keep falling off track because it's so easy for me to boredom eat, which was one of my major problems. I finally started a new job today, so I'm hoping that'll help with that problem and help me resume losing at the rate I'm actually aiming for. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please tap subscribe to join our awesome community, the Narwhals, and for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. And here's our featured Narwhal of the day. To celebrate my 70 pounds weight loss, I gifted myself a vintage makeover and photo shoot.